I was talking with a family in Mississauga last week. They were amazing people, but they told me something that set some alarm bells off. They told me they were just going to wait until the spring. They're going to wait till the spring because the spring market always comes back. And look, that used to be true, but right now we are not just in a quiet season. Our real estate market is definitely taken a downturn the last few years. We're not in one of those hang tight, it'll bounce back cycles. I think that the GTA right now is in a different type of market than where we have been in quite some time. Inventory right now, it's up. Prices, they have adjusted up to 30% in some areas. Buyer psychology has definitely changed, and the mindset of just wait for the rebound can quietly cost some homeowners tens of thousands of dollars. Now, I've mentioned in my previous video that I think the spring market may be an easier time to sell your home depending on what type of home you're looking to sell. I do not think, however, that all of a sudden you are going to get miraculously more money than you would in today's market. I just think there's going to be more buyers out there in the spring when the weather's a little bit nicer. They feel a little bit better about the market and the weather that's outside, and that coincides with potentially a quicker sale of your home. I do not think that we're going to see higher prices in the spring. So if you're just holding out for higher prices, sell your home now. Don't worry about that spring market. A lot of the time, people are not going to realize this until it's too late. Now, the reality is right now in the GTA, we are seeing more listings hitting the market than we have in quite some time. Of course, September, October, and November are going to see a little bit more listings than we see in December and January just due to the Christmas months. Right now, offers are coming in slower with a lot more conditions. You might even have to deal with a conditional on the sale of the buyer's property, and sellers, they're still pricing it in some cases like it's 2021. The mindset that my home should be worth a certain number is where people start to get trapped in today's market, because that number was never realized money. Back in 2021, we were seeing peaks on paper that were insane, and if you bought before the peak, chances are you're not actually losing money on your home right now. You're just not cashing out on some fantasy all-time high euphoric moment that we had in 2021 and 2022. So when you list your home right now, there are some things that really matter. The first week is everything. That is when you have the most eyeballs, the most people looking at your home on MLS, on all the media that's out there, and that is when serious buyers who have those automated searches are going to see it, and they're going to book those quick appointments. The most momentum happens in this period. But if your price is slightly too high, and we're talking even if it's just a little bit too high, you might lose your momentum instantly, and that can kill your listing on the market for days. That it's going to just sit there. And once your listing sits there, you're going to have buyers thinking all sorts of different things from, hey, maybe this is just overpriced. What's wrong with this home? I'll just wait a little bit longer and see if the price comes down further. And you end up selling for less than you probably could have if you priced it just a little bit lower in the market today. It's a pattern that happens every single time people put their property on the market and don't consider this ahead of time. And if your home is not selling, you mentally might have that fallback trap that I hear all the time, and we'll just rent it out. That might sound like a smart plan on paper, but right now, if you think about that, the reality is renting, it's not really passive. You're taking on the risk of a tenant. You're likely not covering your mortgage payments by whatever that rent is that's coming in. And you still have to do so many things to that home. You have to worry about the wear and tear. You have to worry about the home maintenance. You have to worry about the tenant's timeline, because what if that tenant doesn't want to leave your property and you want to sell it and somebody new wants to move in? And you also have to worry about potentially losing capital gains exemption if you convert it for rental use. Now, if you try and sell it later, that tenant can choose not to leave, and that's going to really pigeonhole you to doing anything with this property, because a lot of buyers that are out there, if they want to use this home for personal use, they're going to want that tenant gone, and you cannot just kick somebody out of your property unless they agree that they're willing to leave. And even if they do agree to leave, we've seen tenants sign a document, we're going to leave on the closing, and then they do not leave, which is why we try to avoid showing our clients anything that has a tenant in the property to avoid any issues moving forward. Now, if you've already purchased your next home, this becomes a legal and financial mess if the tenant decides not to leave. So renting it isn't necessarily holding your value. The market's still moving around. The tenant is a lot more risky than you might think, and you might not see the return on actually having them in there. Now, let's talk about 3 realistic paths for you if you are in this situation, because This isn't one of those you must sell right now or you must hold your home forever type of videos that I'm going to make here. You can do what you want with your property, but you want to think about it strategically if you are going to do anything. You don't just sell your home or keep your home on a whim. So the first path that I might take you on is sell and buy in the exact same market. We call this the move up, move down, or kind of relocate within your area. So if you're planning to sell your home and buy another, here is the key. You are trading within the same market. Do not wait a whole season before you buy and sell. You might sell for less than the peak, of course, right now, but you're also going to buy for less than the peak. Your next home is also cheaper than it was in the peak. So the spread here is pretty much the same. And in today's market, on the buying side, you might be able to capture a little bit better of a price than you would have in the previous market, especially if you're moving up. If you're moving up, the likelihood that that detached home has lost more value than your semi-townhome or freehold property is quite likely. Now, if you have a condo, maybe you've lost a similar amount, but your likelihood that you're putting yourself in a more positive situation right now is very, very high. So if your life has already outgrown the space that you're in right now, waiting doesn't necessarily help you in this situation. It kind of delays that life, but the timing is still important. And here's where seasonality starts to come in. Listing your home in December or January, it's usually harder. Not because of the demand necessarily, but because the buyer mindset in the GTA. Winter is busy, it's messy, people are tired, the sun is gone at 4 p.m. and people are just distracted. There's so much more going on. We've got Christmas parties, we've got to go shopping and rack up the bills on those credit cards for all those Christmas gifts, and people are just less emotionally engaged. And when the sun starts to return, clock starts to switch over again, March, April is often where that momentum starts to pick up. And the strategy would be prep your home over that winter, do the little things that need to get done, list early spring. Buyers start to re-engage then, beat the rest of the people to the market, and then buy and sell in that controlled window of time, and then move into something in the summer. That's going to protect not only your budget, but it's going to give you a little bit more leverage doing this. And it will allow you to have a little bit more time to get situated in your new home before the summer happens or even the kids get back to school. Now, the second path here is waiting. You don't have to do anything. So if you're not ready to move, that's completely fine. Waiting should be an intentional choice, not we are waiting for the market to go up, because you cannot choose when the market goes up. And the likelihood is, hey, the market isn't going up anytime soon. We are on a downtrend. We are not looking at uptrends anywhere. The Bank of Canada is talking about potentially no rate adjustments for all of 2026 right now. So I wouldn't all of a sudden imagine that the market is just going to get leaps and bounds better overnight. Now, use the winter if you're going to wait. Use it to prepare, declutter, patch, paint, do some of these little things around the home. Stage it strategically. There's no rush, so you can really take your time with this and then plan the whole financials and the background, so that way when that spring window opens up, you're not scrambling, trying to figure things out, trying to figure out, oh, what should we do with this area? Do all the planning in these cold months and get ready to get it on the market if you're ready to do that in the springtime. Now, the third path, this would be only if you're selling or downsizing, maybe leaving the province. This is where the strategy actually matters a lot more because your result is final. There's no rebalance on the buy side. Here, the goal is to actually maximize the net, not just your price. That means spring tends to be your strongest sale window. We don't know if that's going to be the case in this coming 2026 spring, but a stale listing can be your biggest enemy here. So you need to price it correctly from day one. This is the most critical point. Price it correctly, have the media looking great. And if you push the price to test the market, what happens is you likely don't get that price you're pushing for. You are risking sitting on the market for longer, having to reduce your price, and then you chase the market lower as you do price reductions. And you net less than if you priced it right the first time. And if you're exiting the market entirely, maybe you are getting out of the market, leaving that country, or maybe you are just deciding that renting makes more sense for you, it's better to sell before the next leg down than after that's already happened, which is what some of the sharper, more intelligent sellers are doing right now. So you have to ask yourself, what decision is really the one that makes the most sense for you? what the market used to be is not necessarily what the market is today, and who you are and what you need now is ever changing. So figure out what it is you need and then time your sale or your adjustment in the market accordingly. Now, if you want to know what your home is actually worth today, right now in November, you can always reach out. You can scan the barcode at the bottom here. We can send you a personalized CMA for your property, breaking down what the value might be and what buyers are paying today in today's market. We are not the type of real estate agents who are just going to tell you a price so you feel good about the price. We're going to tell you what your home would actually sell for, not what we hope you could get for your home. And with these 3 different paths, it's going to give you some kind of guidance here to figure out what do we do? What path makes most sense for us? This is no pressure, but feel free. Let me know if I can be of any assistance in the GTA, like so many of the other people who have reached out through our YouTube channel to help transition in this real estate market. Thanks for watching. And if you're curious what the latest market updates are looking like, you can click this playlist right here. But if you happen to be a first-time home buyer, we've got a full guide here. This will prepare you for what you need to know going into 2026 and becoming a homeowner.